Namaste and welcome to Journey of Enlightenment. I am your host, Dr. Roger Gopaul. Peace is something that we all desire. Peace is something that we all search for. Many a times, for us to find this peace, we would go to various places that we believe that peace might be experienced. And nothing is wrong with this. Some of us may enjoy going to the beach, spending a nice day on the sand, feeling the breeze of the beach, looking at the water and the waves break. Others might enjoy the mountainside and hiking through the dense forest, looking at the trees and the coolness of the woods. And therein, they feel the sense of calm, the sense of quietude, the sense of peace. I also do have one of my favorite places where I go to just get away, to get a break from the rush of life. And that is in Rishikesh, on the banks of Ganga, where I enjoy each moment. The brilliance of just looking at that water flow. But is peace possible? Because upon returning to our daily lives, our day-to-day living, we still experience a rush of thoughts, mental traffic that sometimes may lead to congestion in our brain. So is peace then possible? Our topic today would look at that concept that we will call practical peace, a mind in quietude. The mind is a very powerful thing. What exactly is the mind? Some people assume that the mind is the brain. Well, we can see the brain, we can touch the brain, but the mind is so much more than something that is part of our physiology. It is much more than something that we can touch or see via scans. The mind is made up of intangible elements that we call thoughts. What is a thought? A thought is basically our consciousness, our awareness, plus an object. That gives us what we know as thought. Depending on the quality of thought, we can create physiological reactions. For example, if our thought is busy or stressed or worried or angry, our nervous system signals to our body what our bodily reaction should be. So, under a tense moment, there might be production of the fight or flight hormones, and our body tenses in order to react to those hormones. The power of thought can create peace or it can create disturbance. A mind that remains in equipoise and balance is able to constantly be in that state of quietude. In the story of the Ramayana, King Dashrath was plunged into utter distress. He was forced to make a decision that he was not happy with. That decision was to now have Shri exiled for 14 years in the forest. then appoint Bharat as the Prince Regent. It was not a decision that the king was happy with. He was now in a state of utter mental failure. His mind had given up on him. Because of the condition of his mind, his body also responded. He lay on the bed as though dead, unable to speak due to the turmoil that was going through his mind. When Shri Ram visited his father, King Dashrath, and queried what exactly is bothering the king, what is happening to him, because Shri Ram never saw his father in such a state before. The news was then broken to Shri Ram that he would need to leave the kingdom of Ayodhya. He would need to leave the palace and go into the forest. He is to be exiled. Unlike typical man who would have reacted, and there is a probability typical man would react very negatively to such a condition, to such a situation, Shri Ram didn't. The Ramayana said that he was always in this state of bliss, in this state of happiness. There was a smile on Shri Ram's face. Despite the outer conditions, despite these situations that he was now facing, Shri Ram responded with gentleness, kindness, and dignity, even at the oppressor. The question is, what was the mental state of Shri Ram in a situation such as this? Is it possible for us to also be and enjoy such mental equipoise, such peace of mind, even when the conditions around us are so disturbing that it can literally shift the ground that we are standing on? Can we remain unaffected? It is a question that many of us ask ourselves. And the answer is, it depends on the quality of thought. If the quality of thought is one that is plunged into negativity, into despair, then such conditions in our mind would literally hamper us rather than help us. In January 2009, there was a flight that left New York City. On that day, when the flight was in climb out, unfortunately, it hit a flock of geese. The geese numbered so much that it blinded the pilots. The engines stopped, and some claim that they saw fire coming from the engines. The flight was led by Captain Sully, as he was affectionately called. It carried 150 passengers and 3 crew members. In a state of distress, Captain Sully had to make a decision. He explored all options available, including other airports where he might be able to land the plane. But it was a judgment call on his part in terms of what should he do in a crisis situation. Captain Sully decided that he will not take the chance to reach a close-by airport because the lives of 150 passengers, including 3 crew members, not to mention untold numbers who might be on the ground or on buildings if the plane crashes. They can all be hurt. He decided to guide that plane to the Hudson River and land it on the river. The plane landed safely, with passengers being hurt, but no lives lost, and most being minor injuries. His decision saved many lives that day and was hailed as a national and international hero. The LA Times said that Captain Sully is best described as a man who was deliberately calm. Reading further into the text of the LA Times that year, it went on to say that Captain Sully had trained his mind to remain calm in chaos. He was a trained fighter pilot, and he was a well-experienced commercial airline pilot. His mind was trained. Can we then train our minds in order to remain in that state of quietude? And the answer is, fortunately, yes. You see, the mind is such that it wants peace. It wants happiness. Why? Because peace, bliss, is our nature. Peace, bliss, love, compassion. That is not just qualities, but it is the very essence of our being. So therefore the mind desires this. It naturally longs for this. How do we take our minds there? We pause. In this rush called life, with all these external elements and experiences happening around us, we sometimes forget our true nature, which is peace. How do we get back there? We pause. If you look at a car is made to go forward. When we drive our car, we usually drive forward. Very rare do we go very far in reverse. But while we drive the car forward, which is meant to take us from point A to point B, there is a brake system in place, not just an accelerator. That brake system is very important because we need to sometimes slow down, whether it be at a traffic light or someone crossing the street. We need to slow down. We understand this. But yet the mind, which is so occupied with so much traffic of thoughts, we sometimes don't slow down. The first step in achieving this mind of quietude is to allow ourselves to slow down, to pause. Some of you might think, well, it is very difficult to pause. We work 15 hours a day, some of us. We have so many responsibilities. We have deadlines to meet. Therefore, it is not possible to pause. Well, let's redefine what it means to pause. Not all the time can we run away to the Himalayas or to the banks of Ganga, or to the beach, or to a beautiful rainforest, or look at a waterfall. It may not be possible, but it is possible that wherever we are, we can stop for a moment in time. Some people may use 20 minutes a day to just enter into a state of quietude. Some may do just 10 minutes, others 5. If that is not possible, let us look at the smallest unit of time on a clock that we all basically consider the smallest unit of time, which is 1 second. Now we know that there are smaller units of time, smaller than 1 second, but for the average person, 1 second is the smallest unit that takes 60 seconds to create 1 minute. So we will just look at 1 second of time. Let us then look at the smallest unit of our daily energy, which is our breath. The smallest unit of our breath is 1 breath in and 1 breath out. There is a relationship between our breath, our breathing system, and our mental traffic and our physiology. Studies have shown that if we are able to slow our breath and focus our breath into a rhythmic pattern, we are able to reduce our stress levels. We are able to relax our bodies. We need not take much time to practice practical peace. We just need a few seconds and a few breaths wherever we are at any time of the day. How is this done? Well, let's first discuss where is it done. This can be done while you are driving, at the office, having lunch, relaxing at home, or sometimes even waiting on a meeting. Let us look at the techniques involved in this practical piece. We sit with our eyes open. There's no need to close. There is no need for any special sitting postures. There's no need for any particular type of music playing in the background. There's no need to be on the banks of the Ganga. Wherever you are, in your office or your car, and you focus on your breath. 1 breath slowly in, and you pause, and then slowly out. Let's call it the 4, 7, and 8 technique. Meaning, slowly focus on the breath. So your thought is now just on the breathing. It's not on any deeper analysis, assessment of anything. It's just on your breath. And you breathe in, counting in your mind just 4 seconds. And you hold for 7 seconds. And you breathe out for 8 seconds. And you repeat this. How many times? It's totally up to you. And that is our practical silence. You see, peace is not found in the external world of objects, because we can't be at the highest point of the Himalayas or even on the highest point of Mount Everest and still not be at peace if the mind is not peaceful. It is therefore important for us to learn how to stop, how to pause anytime during the day and allow our minds to go into this state of quietude. Once we continue to practice these techniques, naturally it becomes habit for us. The mind would remain in that state of balance, that state of equipoise. Let us train ourselves to go deep within, to realize our essence, our very nature, which is peace, which is love, which is bliss. Thank you very much for joining me on today's program, Journey of Enlightenment, and I look forward to continuing our discussion with you. Thank you.